Hi folks, this is Jack with Shar Music, and today I'm going to help you answer the question, which rosin should I buy? For bassists, life is kind of easy. For bass, we just like sticky rosin. You know, Pops rosin, Kolstein, Yumba, we have all kinds of options. We don't really deal with light and dark rosin. We just need something sticky. Life is easy as a bassist. When it comes to cello, viola, and violin, though, you are going to see two main types. You are going to see light rosin, and you are going to see dark rosin. There's some amber rosin, which, you know, kind of right down the middle there, but the big question is, what's the difference? Well, the main difference between these two types of rosins is how it's going to behave on your bow. For dark rosin is a little stickier, and as you apply it to your bow and play, you may notice there's a bit more grit to it. You know, for me personally, I find dark rosin to be very good for orchestral work, and as a bassist, you know, I'm used to like the super sticky stuff, so I need to lay into those strings, and so a dark sticky rosin is what I'm gonna go with. Dark rosin is also really good if you live in a drier climate, or if you're going to be performing in a dry place. Dark rosin will have some of that moisture in the rosin itself, so as you apply it to your bow, it's not gonna just dry out in the air around you. Light rosin, on the other hand, it's a little bit more subtle. Light rosin doesn't have quite as much grip, which is okay in a lot of places because that grit that you can kind of get from a dark rosin is not something you wanna have in a light chamber orchestra or something. So a light rosin is gonna be really good for a humid, hot climate. Because there's not quite as much moisture in these as in light rosin as there is with dark rosin, that humidity in the air around you is actually going to help that light rosin grip your string. Whereas if you were to use a dark rosin in a hot, humid place, it is going to feel far stickier than what you're used to. So the next question we get pretty frequently is, well gosh, why is there such a price difference between some of these rosins? Here on the table, I have some that are, you know, maybe $10 or so, and I have others that are in the neighborhood of $30 and even on up to $70. So why on earth do we have $10 rosins as well as $70 rosins? Well, it all depends on what sort of ingredients and what the process is that the company is putting into their rosin. You know, some of them are a little simpler, you know, maybe it's just tree sap and maybe one or two other additives in there. Some others, as is the case with the Liebenzeller here, they include some additive iron that they collected from a meteor. Now, the tricky part is, how do you test out these rosins? You know, there's so many options. How do you do a good job of trying them out? Because here's the issue. If you try out a rosin on your bow and say, I'm not a big fan of it, you try to wipe off that rosin or you try to clean it off your bow, there's still going to be some residue left. So really the only good way to clean off all of the rosin from your bow is to get it re-haired. Mixing rosin is not a bad thing by any means. You know, some of these mix very well together, and as a matter of fact, some of these options even have a light and a dark rosin that you can sort of blend yourself. The issue comes into play though, as you are mixing all of these rosins, if you happen to find just the perfect blend for you, oh gosh, you've had 5 different rosins on your bow, how are you going to replicate it? So mixing rosins isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is difficult to get it off your bow. So keep that in mind. I think the best strategy for trying out new rosins is to ask other musicians. If you see a violinist that is using a particular kind of rosin that you would like to try, ask them very politely, hey, could I use your bow? Could I try out that rosin on your bow on my instrument and see how I like it? Folks, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to comment below this video, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you here next time on The Workshop. I'm gonna try that again, because I didn't like it. Does this shirt make me look fat? No.